Well, Misty runs and runs and runs. This story's all from the mid-70s. I'm 13 years old. Dad announces at the dinner table, "Oh, we got a new pony coming in tonight. I need you around after dinner, boy." I'm like, "Oh, new pony, what's up?" "Oh, Mike bought a pony for his son, young Daver, so I want you around." "Yeah, okay." So, sure enough, a horse trailer shows up, and out steps a beautiful little roan mare. She's a moderate to heavy little pony. Beautiful roan mare, lovely conformation, matching black forelock, mane, tail, four stockings. We're all like, ooh, wow. Now, I got to introduce some of the characters here. Lori's 14. She's been around the farm for about 3 years. Rides fearlessly. Tomboy, curses like a sailor. Rhonda, 14. Pretty much the same, but didn't really pride herself in her cursing. And Cindy, who's 12, and had just joined us that year on the farm with her first horse. So anyways, Misty is thoroughly inspected. Her gear, her tack, I should say, thoroughly inspected. Really nice show-level quality stuff. So Dad says, "Saddle her up, boy. Put her through her paces." So I do. I ride her around. She's reined to Western, one hand. She does everything a 2.5-year-old horse that's saddle trained could be expected to do. Needs a little work on backing up that goes against their prey instincts, but yeah, she's, looking good. So now Lori pipes up and says, "Well, let's see if she can run." Lori had a little pony, the aptly named Rocket. He could run, he could outrun every horse on the farm and pretty near everything for 6 counties around. He was just a medium-sized, light-built pony with an oddly sort of elongated wiener dog-like body, but boy, he could run. So everybody's watching, Mike, the owner, his son, young Dave, 10 years old, the girls, Dad, and I got a feeling Misty's going to take Rocket. I mean, looked to be in excellent condition. Looked like she'd make a good barrel racer, actually. So anyways, Lori and I line up, and off we go, and Misty comes out of the gate like, wow. I was like, oh yeah, she's going to have Rocket. About the third stride, we're coming up to speed, and I see Lori's look of consternation. She gets light and low on Rocket. And on the fourth stride, Misty veers right at Rocket. Lori, cursing, dodges me. "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." And poof, off Misty goes the other way. And back. And off the other way again. I'm like, well, what are you... Lori's alternating between chasing me and eluding me, and she's like, "What? Cursing a blue streak at me. What are you doing?" It's not me, the pony. I can't keep this thing running in a straight line. And she was fast. Well, she gobbled up the field pretty quick, and when I went to rein her in, she wasn't having any part of it. She just put her head down and kept charging. And again, still all over the place. Well, I realized I didn't have strength enough to rein her in. Yeah, she was in good shape, and she was strong and fit all right. We're coming to the end of the field, 4-foot page wire fence with a string of barbed wire across the top. But the only thing I could do was get her to turn. I couldn't. A horse has to follow its head, right? Especially when it's running, it'll just flop over. That's all I can do is get her turning. I get her turned into the corner of the field. She's boxed in by 2 fences. She just charged straight at the next fence. I'm like, whoa. So the battle's on now. She wants to run. I want her to turn because I'm not letting her run again. Well, she now decides to unsaddle me, right? And the battle's truly on. Lori's circling around. "How much trouble are you in?" I said, "Well, a world of it." The beast is stronger than I am. "I'll get Rhonda," Lori says. She streaks off, comes back with Rhonda doubled on. Rocket. Leaves Rocket ground-tied. Lori jumps on the inside of Misty. I got her spinning to the left in the corner of the field. She's still trying to buck and rear and kick and unsaddle me. Rhonda gets a hold of the outside, and poor Rhonda, at one point, she's looking up at me with wide eyes. She had like the tiger by the tail. Her feet are about coming off the ground as the mare's spinning. Lori, true to character, cursing like make a sailor blush. I'm still up in the saddle trying to rein this fool thing in, and Lori says, well, maybe if you got off. Oh, okay, it sounded like a good idea. I didn't put much thought into it. I rolled off the back and landed heavily. Time I get up, kind of clutching my side, half-winded, the two girls had fought the little mare to a standstill, and she's standing there blowing out. As I approached, Lori handed me the reins and cursed me for my untactful dismount, if you will. Got on Rocket. Rhonda declined to ride. Lori and Rocket tore off. Rhonda's going, what's going on? I said, what do I know? So I let Misty blow out, catch her breath, walk her back. She's perfectly docile. I'm on foot. Misty's checked out. We take her saddle, blanket, saddle pad off. That's all inspected, the proverbial burr under the saddle. Young Daver's kind of consternated. He's like, is something wrong with my pretty little pony? We're like, well, you know, we'll figure this out. Dad, saddle her up. Try her again. Okay. Yeah, I love my job some days, Pa. Misty's perfectly fine. Same as first time. I walk her around, I turn her, I stop her, I back her up, you know, everything's fine. Dad says, well, okay, run her and see what happens. But no other pony, no Lori involved. Oh boy. Okay. Firmly in the saddle there, hand on the horn, feet thoroughly in the stirrups. Give her some heel, same deal. She hits the third stride and turns into a pinball. She's all over the field. Whoa. This time I know not to let her get a full steam ahead up because she is stronger than I am. So as soon as she starts her pinballing, I just get her turning. And once I get her into a rhythm of that, I vault out of the saddle, clamp onto her head. She calms down pretty quick. Oh. Walk her back, same deal. Horse and gear inspected. Poor Daver, young Daver by now, I mean, his lips kind of trembling. So, the pony gets brushed down again. It's calm, everything's fine. Dad says, we'll try her without the saddle, boy. I'm like, oh, what? I can't stay in the saddle hardly. Without a saddle, you say. Lori steps up. There was always this rivalry, right? No, I'll try her. I'm like, well, have at her. I'm like, go ahead. Dad shoots me a look like upstaged by a girl, eh, boy? I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He said, well, Lori, I'll stick close. Don't let her get much on you. Lori knew enough not to let, because Misty went nuts again as soon as Lori gave her the heel, and Lori knew enough to get her turning. But she was coming unsaddled. I ran over, prepared for it, got a hold of Misty just in time. Lori wasn't happy about being effectively unsaddled. She did manage to land on her feet. She stalked off angrily behind the barn to have a smoke. Excuse me. So by now, it's starting to get on towards coming on to dusk. Kids had to be home when the street lights came on in those days, so the girls were brushing down their respective horses and turning them loose. And gonna head off on their way, and Mike saying to Dad, well, you know, can you get this straightened out? And he's like, oh yeah, the boy will get her straightened out, won't you, boy? Oh yeah, sure I will. You know, I'm like giving young Daver the thumbs up. Young Dave's got big aspirations, right? I mean, he's 10, I'm 13, the older boy sort of hero thing, and envisioning the girls, he's all crushing on them. He's going to be riding his pony with us. You know, you can see where his head's at, and it's just not looking good at this point in time. So Mike and Dave go off on his way. I said, well, Dad, I'll let Misty turn her loose before it gets any dark, and I want to watch her integrate into the herd to make sure that they have to establish their pecking order, their hierarchy, if you will, and there usually isn't an issue with that. There's a bit of teeth and the odd hoof slashing, but you want to make sure it's normal and it's initial, meet and greet. So I do that, and I come back. I'm like, yeah, everything's good there. What do I do with Misty? He goes, well, same as always. I said, what do you mean, same as always? Well, take her in a firm hand and get her straightened out, boy. I said, well, that's these recalcitrant old things you buy that have been passed around and soured, and I got to take them in a firm hand and get them straightened out. And then you find the right buyer for them, like Cindy with her horse Fancy. And he's like, well, and I'm like, well, I said, I don't know what she's doing. This is not normal, and I don't know what to do with it. And he's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, what do you mean? You don't know. But you promised Mike I'm going to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what ails it. Well, take tomorrow and work with her. I'll get Lori to clean the barn and cover all your other chores for you. Make it a priority and let me know how it goes. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So I'll leave this chapter here as chapter 1.